Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for listening to the 6th episode of the Inexperience Points podcast. My name's James, and I'm here with Chris.
Hello.
Say hello. Here he is. Now, we're doing a bit of an experiment this week. We're actually recording online. Usually, we actually sit in each other's presence and gaze longingly into each other's eyes as we record, but now we're trying something a bit different, so hopefully it all works okay. Fingers crossed. We apologise if it sounds a bit shit or otherwise messed up. This is a bit of an experiment, isn't it?
Yeah, could go either way, really.
Yeah, well, there's one way to find out. Shall we get right into talking about some games?
Yeah, let's.
Cool.
Do you want to kick it off?
Came here for. Can do. So we'll start as ever with what we've been playing this week. And this week I've been playing a few indie games actually.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think it might be last week or possibly the week before we said Journey was coming out on PS4.
Yep.
You've never played it before, have you?
No. I'm kind of tempted to, but I haven't yet.
It's worth playing. It's worth playing. So I've played it before on PS3, but I'm not sure if I mentioned before that the PS4 version is actually free if you've already got the PS3 version.
Yeah, I think you did mention that.
Which is pretty nice of them. So I've been playing a bit of that again, and my opinion hasn't changed, and that is that it's a nice game and it's worth playing, but I don't think it's anything truly incredible, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I've heard so much good stuff about it, and that it's supposed to be really beautiful and really powerful and have quite a strong impact. I could be wrong, but I can't imagine it being that way for me. I don't know. There's no particular story or anything, is there? It's just a journey.
It is literally a journey, and it does have a lot of things in its favour. I mean, you were saying about it being beautiful and stuff, and it genuinely is. And this PS4 version does look really nice. The music's beautiful. That is really well done as well. So the visuals and the audio do sort of combine together to make quite a sort of powerful experience sometimes. But for me, the main problem is it's basically just kind of a walking simulator. You're just sort of walking around a lot. And
so do you play as a person? I've seen like the kind of I've seen pictures and it looks like a cape or something and a hat.
Yeah, I wouldn't say person. You're kind of a humanoid type being. It's actually a scarf that you have.
Oh, right,
It's
okay.
sort of like a cape, and that grows throughout the game, and that lets you jump higher. And there are some very basic puzzles, but most of it is literally just kind of walking from one end to the other, picking some stuff up, and just taking in the surroundings, which are, to be fair, gorgeous. And it's a very well done game, but for me, it doesn't quite live up to the hype. Some people were saying, it's the game of the year or the best game they've ever played, and I don't see that.
I can see where you're coming from. From what you've said, it's not really appealing to me.
That said, I do still recommend you play it at some point.
I think I'll have to, just to really know which side of the fence I'm on, because I've heard, as you say, mediocre things said about it, and now said, as you say, people saying it's the best thing ever, and there's a life lesson to learn from it, and really powerful.
Oh god,
and stuff.
no, there's definitely nothing like that. Okay. Unless someone's a bit more, I don't know, observant than I am. I certainly didn't notice anything like that. But it's not dear. It doesn't break the bank.
How much is it?
And
roundabout.
Ooh, I could be completely wrong. I would say about £12. I could be well off the mark there.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go wrong for that kind of price.
And it's not a big time investment either. Probably 3 hours. Probably no more than that. So it's everyone should really give it a go. Unless you only like Call of Duty or FIFA. Then you're not going to get on with it. But everyone should at least try it. And I think some people will get on with it better than others.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what you're looking for It sounds very arty.
It is.
So if that's what you're looking for, then it's going to tick those boxes, isn't it? But if you're looking for loads of gameplay mechanics and something to really get your teeth into, it doesn't sound like it's on that end. Incidentally, did you? I know you can play it with other people, or they kind of fall into your game. Did you do that?
Yes. Well, yeah. I think you can probably choose to play offline, but by default, it will automatically pair you with someone, and there's no communication other than a little kind of emote you can do, almost a little gesture, and you don't know who the person is, you don't know their username or anything, so they're just kind of a stranger. And I can kind of see the benefit of doing that. It stops things from being mucked up. They can't scream at you, and it doesn't break the immersion. They are literally kind of just a stranger to you that walks with you on your walking simulator experience.
Yeah, that sounds pretty ideal in terms of my online multiplayer preferences.
Yeah.
As long as they can say nothing and not troll me and not, influence my game
ruin
too
the
much.
experience.
Yeah, then that's fine. I could tolerate that.
Okay, well, moving on to another game which is actually quite similar. Gone Home. Have you heard of that one?
I don't think I have, off the top of my head.
No, well, this one's probably a year or two old now. It's not mega new, and I've had it for a while, and I keep meaning to give it a go, so I finally got into it. And yeah, it turns out it's basically just another walking around simulator.
Fucking hell.
Although
you've
this
had a
time,
good week for walking around.
I have. I've got lots of exercise done in game. This time instead of walking around deserts, you walk around a house.
Jesus.
The titular home that you go to.
Where have you gone home from? Work?
You've been travelling the world, and you go back to your family house, and no one's there, and there's a big mystery to solve about what's happened.
Is it a big house?
Where everyone is. Yes. If it was a little, 2-bedroom terrace house, it probably wouldn't be a very long game, would it?
No.
If you could only walk around that. Okay, so it is similar to Journey, but I've actually found myself getting a lot more engrossed in it.
Oh, good.
And that is because there is actually a lot to the story, and the walking around and exploring is kind of, I find it more interesting because you're literally just walking around this house, but there are loads of letters, notes, diaries to read. You're literally kind of walking around, rummaging through all the drawers, trying to find out what's gone off. And you slowly start to piece together the story from the things that you find around the house. I'm going to guess by your silence there that you are either very uninterested or just enraptured by how exciting it truly sounds. Which of the two would you say?
I'm just trying to... So you're walking around, you're picking stuff up. How much reading do you have to do? Because so far we've got a reading simulator and a walking simulator.
Yeah, there is plenty of reading. Now, I like my reading. I'm fine with that. But if you're not overly literate, then that might annoy you a bit, perhaps. Because you're not going to find out much about the game if you don't read. You're literally going to walk around.
So what you read, does that then kind of give you hints as to where to go next?
To some extent, yes. And like there might be a safe and you've got to try and rummage around to try and find the combination, for instance.
Right.
So there's kind of some light puzzles in there to some extent. But it's not by any means a challenging game, or at least not yet. I've not completed it yet. I've got a fair way through. But yeah, I found myself getting really into it. It really does a good job of depicting this family's life. You go through all of their old school books, letters to each other, kind of things saying about their job and school life. And it's all a bit kind of pedestrian, nothing overly out of the ordinary. You go in and it's almost like a haunted house and the lights are flickering. And then, so you're like, oh, what's going on here? And then you find a letter saying that the wiring's dodgy and needs sorting.
Yeah.
So there doesn't seem to be anything supernatural or overly, as I say, out of the ordinary about it. but it's just quite an interesting story. It's actually set in the 90s, I think.
Okay.
So there's like VHSs, tapes lying around. You see like X-Files box sets and Super Nintendo. There's quite a few references to Super Nintendo, actually.
What's the graphical style like?
It's realistic, and it's actually quite nice for an indie game. It's actually quite a good looking game, considering you're just inside a house. And what's quite important is that all of the objects are really well rendered. So you basically pick everything up and have a close look at it, and everything is really sharp. Because if stuff was like blurry and had shitty textures, then that would just look terrible. But graphically, yeah, it's actually quite impressive.
So how many people have gone missing?
I guess your whole family. They've left the house for some reason.
He hasn't gone to the police or, asked a neighbour?
Yeah, it's a bit odd. The main protagonist seems to kind of take it in her stride that her family have deserted the home. She doesn't seem to be too worked up about it, really. She just kind of slowly walks around.
All right, fuck it, I'll just rummage through all their private stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Go through the bedroom, bedside drawers.
You find one of your dad's pervy magazines, which is quite good. I enjoyed that part.
Bit of realism.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so yeah, that was good. And there's been another little indie game I've played, but I've not played this one for very long. The full name of this, I think, is Half Minute Hero Super Mega Neo Climax Ultimate Boy.
Right. Quite a lot of words there.
Quite a few. Yeah.
Half Minute Hero.
A bit greedy in that respect.
It's not one you've heard before.
No, it's not usually the kind of description that I get.
That's good.
Probably more 10 seconds hero.
Two pump chump. Is that what it is? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So what's actually interesting is how I played this game. And it's on PC again and on Steam, but I played it from someone else's account.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this. So
for the first time I tried the Steam family sharing thing.
So is that where you can play it if someone else isn't on their account? Is that the rule?
That's right. Yeah. And it is, to be fair, it's really generous. I was quite surprised when they added it. I was really pleased, but I was quite surprised because, yeah, I've got several hundred games. My mate's got several hundred games. We can literally play any of each other's games for as long as we like when they're not on it.
Yep.
So it's a pretty good system.
And that was the one you picked?
Yeah, that was the one I picked. He recommended it. Okay, so I've only played it briefly, but actually due to the nature of the game, that's not the end of the world because, as it's called, Half Minute Hero.
Yeah, so
it's...
Sorry, go on.
No, it's all right. I'm just trying to think how best to describe it. It's basically a very light RPG that you play in 30 seconds. You have to save the world. There's loads of different scenarios, and you have to save the world in 30 seconds each time.
Okay.
And so you're basically running around this world map, really quickly fighting enemies, and then getting to the end boss. And I think there's ways to sort of extend the time and stuff like that and pause it. Well, not pause it, but yeah, there's ways to extend the time somewhat, so it can be a bit longer than 30 seconds.
I'm just trying to picture how that even works.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you could actually imagine it without seeing it for yourself.
So how long does a battle last? A couple of seconds?
Yeah, literally, and it's basically auto fight.
Can you lose?
Yeah, I think when you die, you just respawn, but then you'll lose valuable time and probably won't finish the level. You can use items, so you do have some sort of interaction there. And I've only played through the first few levels, so I'm guessing it gets more complex as it goes on.
Is it the same character on each level?
Yes, you're the same protagonist, but you're up against different enemies, and each time the scenario kind of gets a bit more convoluted or more challenging.
Right, okay. Yeah, that sounds all right.
Yeah, it's an interesting formula. As I say, it's very hard to kind of explain and picture without seeing it for yourself, but that's quite cool. I might play a bit more of that on his account.
So do you know how many half-minute scenarios are in the entire game?
By the looks of it, quite a few, which is good, because otherwise it would be drastically short.
Yep.
But no, it looks like there's quite a lot of levels. So it's pretty cool. I think it was originally a PSP game, and then they sort of remade it for PC.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think there's just one more thing that I played this week, really, and that was a bit more Dark Souls 2. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago I started playing this, so that's the Scholar of the First Sin edition.
Yep.
And I was actually playing that with my mate. Well, he was kind of my mentor, because he's a big Dark Souls nut. He really knows what he's doing.
So what, he was just in the room with you playing it, or giving you advice, kind of thing?
Yeah, I was playing it, but he was helping me along a little bit. He didn't want to spoil too much, so he was giving me sort of vague hints, and sometimes he was a bit of a cock and purposely led me into nasty scenarios.
What, like one of those the online note things?
Yes, essentially, yeah. Like, oh, you just walk over there. Literally, at one point, I just walked over somewhere, and 5 enemies drop on your head. It's like, bloody hell. Basically, the game is designed to get you at every turn.
Yeah.
You've not played any of the Dark Souls games, I don't think, have you?
No, I've heard a reasonable amount about them, but I haven't actually played them, and I'm not sure I want to.
They're very much an acquired taste, but they are really worth trying. And basically, you will probably hate it for the first few hours, but as you get more into it, you get into the groove of it a bit. But it is always challenging, sort of all the way throughout. And I was getting him to sort of give me some hints, because some stuff is pretty tricky to work out without someone telling you. Some things you'd never work out on your own, and that's one of my main beefs with the game, well, with the series as a whole, and Bloodborne as well, is that you can miss sort of huge important parts of the game, literally because you don't know that you have to get this item and give it to this person, or there's a hidden thing here that you have to use. There's so many things you can miss out on, which is both a pro and a con, really. Yeah,
I think it's obviously all on purpose, but I can see what you mean. I wouldn't want to miss something and then feel like my entire game's fucked after spending God knows how
that sort of stuff really frustrates me. Yeah. And there's a lot of kind of decisions you can make and things you can do that are irreversible.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So a lot of the time you're going to be like, okay, so that screwed everything up. I really don't want to play another 15 hours.
And right,
that's it. So you just put it on the shelf and get someone else out.
Yeah, so you have to go in with an open mind and be prepared that you are going to fuck up, you are going to die a lot, but you just kind of have to roll with it. It does annoy me. Well, it doesn't annoy me as such, but it can be frustrating how the game literally is designed to kind of piss you off. But at the same time, it's kind of fascinatingly addictive, because you really want to just try and best it. And I'd say it's never unfair. Sometimes it probably is a bit unfair, but it is well designed.
Yeah, I was told, like, with some of the traps and things, there's no way you could tell stuff the first time. So I'd say that's pretty unfair. I don't think it's a particularly good game mechanic where you literally just have to learn stuff by
trial and error.
Yeah, like, especially when it costs you time, like real life, a lot of time.
Yeah, because you literally, when you die, you lose your experience that you're carrying.
Yeah.
But you can gather it back. As long as you don't die again, you can pick it up again. But for some reason, I am still drawn to them. I think they are still quite absorbing. They're really interesting game worlds, and as I say, it's good to give yourself a challenge. I mean, I know you like a challenge, so you might get on quite well with it.
Yeah, possibly. And as negative as that all sounds, I have always been intrigued by it. But I think part of the reason I don't go to it as well is that it's so bleak. Like, I don't mind like dungeons or, you know, dark areas of games, but I don't necessarily want to play a game that's just bleak and dark and full of death all the way through.
Because Elder Scrolls, for instance, that has, you know, some really nice villages and stuff that you can It's kind of chill out in almost,
Well,
and it'll have your dark dungeons and your dragons and stuff to fight.
But yeah, you've got your nice light overworld as well, and your villages and stuff. And funny you should say that, because I remember back when I bought Skyrim, I was undecided between Skyrim and whichever Dark Souls game was out at the similar time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And for that,
I think you made the right
reason,
choice.
yeah, I went for Skyrim because I didn't want a dark, depressing environment all the time. So
That's fair. It's very oppressive. It's not something that I can personally play for hours at a time, because you'll kind of probably end up a bit jittery and a bit miserable. But it's worth it in short sprints. Playing it for an hour or two at a time, it's worth trying for yourself.
Well, yeah, people wouldn't keep buying it. Wouldn't be so highly acclaimed if it wasn't if there wasn't the substance there. But no, I don't really feel tempted to do it very often. I'll get it.
Maybe one day. Well, that's all I've been playing for this week, other than my feature game. What about yourself?
Well, okay, so I'll start on quite an interesting one.
All right.
In the sense that I started a game, I finished it, and I didn't play it at all.
What?
So I started it.
You're going to have to elaborate.
I started it, I got to the end credits, and I did 0 gameplay.
Huh. Okay.
And it'd be interesting to see if you know about this. Do you know about the Far Cry 4 secret ending?
I don't, no.
Well, okay, so I'll explain. So I put Far Cry 4 in the other day to play it, but I'd been given some advice from Dill. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So for the listeners, Dill is our colleague's husband. So I'd been chatting to him, and I told him about the games I got, and I said I was going to play Far Cry. And he said, okay, so when you start it, just do nothing and wait. And I was like, okay. And he said, yeah, there's a brilliant secret ending. You have to wait for a bit, but it's worth doing. So I started it, and I fucking loved it. Like, as introductions to games go, because you know about Pagan Min, the main antagonist.
I've seen him.
Oh, he was awesome. He was just like, I don't know, clearly a psychopath.
Yeah.
Really well voice acted. Very, very bizarre in that he's like quite metrosexual with a very...
I thought that, yeah, from the front cover. He does look quite stylish, quite fabulous.
So, yeah, just to give a backstory, what's going on is your mother's died, and she asked you to take her ashes back to where she was from, I assume, which is the fictional place Karat. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Oh, yes.
So you're there, and you're in. You're just getting transported to wherever, and then all hell breaks loose, and people end up dead. And then a helicopter lands with Pagan Min in it, and he knows who you are. He looks in your eyes and said, "I'd recognise those eyes anywhere." And he says, "Come on, we're going for a meal." Like,
oh well, that's nice.
After he's like killed some random people and said some random stuff. Yeah, and as I say, like, he looks dead metrosexual. I'm not sure how old he's supposed to be. I think he probably looks younger than the character's supposed to be.
Sure.
He seems quite camp, but he's not necessarily gay, because he implies that he's had a relationship with your mother. And not in a like, oh, I fucked your mum kind of way, like in a kind of serious way.
Oh, fair enough. Okay,
which is, I guess, why he implies that he knows you. And then so he takes you this like meal with some guy and your guide, and then he takes your guide off to torture him because he calls him a terrorist, because he tries to text help at the table. So you're in this dead posh palace place on like a mountainside. And he says, "Oh, sorry about this, fucking terrorists or whatever," and then takes this guy off, and he says, "Oh, just wait here." And then the game starts, and so it encourages you to move around and I assume escape the place. But I just stayed there,
right?
And then you just hear like this guy getting tortured in the background, and like really wild screams, and you just have to wait there in that room for 15 minutes, and then Pagan Min comes back, And he's like, "Oh, you're a gentleman. I knew you'd like the food," and blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Oh, come on then, we've got a job to do." And then there's like a secret ending where you go off with him. And without ruining too much, he kind of gives more knowledge about who you are and his relationship with your mum. And then he makes some comment to you. He's like, "Oh, well," because you take the ashes with you. And he's like, "Right, now that's out of the way. Let's go shoot some guns or something." And then the credits roll.
Oh, brilliant.
So
that's a really cool little Easter egg, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah. And it's really piqued my interest. Well, I was loving the character from the off, like the Pagan Min character. Yeah. But it's really piqued my interest as to find out more about him. And it, because this secret ending kind of implies that it's totally not black and white. Like, the guy's clearly a psychopath, but he also seems to kind of like you, or maybe not like you, but shows an interest in you and wants to work with you, kind of. So it's almost like maybe some sort of alternate reality, like if actually at the start of the game you don't run off and then I guess go to war against him and try and take him down, then maybe you would have ended up like working together. And I guess that's kind of what the secret ending implies.
I think that's pretty cool. I respect that.
Yeah. I'm kind of intrigued to know what will actually happen in the canon story.
Yeah. I mean, Far Cry 4, that's one of the ones we got you for your birthday, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
I thought that one was a bit of a wild card. I thought I'd try you out with that one, because I know you're not a big fan of shooters, generally, are you? Am I right in thinking that? You're not a massive fan of shooters?
No, I don't play them very often, but there are some
now,
games
I know what I was thinking is you probably don't like sort of your corridor shooters and stuff. But what's cool about Far Cry is there's so many other things you do. You sort of drive around, go hunting. One of the best weapons in the game isn't the guns, but your bow and arrow.
Oh, okay, cool.
And there's so many other things you can do. There's quite a lot of stealth involved. So I thought it's something that you'd probably enjoy, because it's not your typical shooter.
Yeah, I do think I will enjoy it, but for the gameplay elements. But I was kind of surprised by how much I was intrigued by the story from the off as well. So that's definitely kind of another reason for me to really want to get stuck into it. And like,
that's cool,
especially with like the voice acting being really solid. Well, I guess not just the voice acting, but the realization of this antagonist, and like his personality relative to yours. It's just like, so whoever the main guy is has just got no personality. Yeah, he's just kind of been taken captive and not really said very much.
That was like Far Cry 3, really. The main protagonist, and particularly your friends, which you have to save, they're not really likeable, or don't really have much personality at all. But I guess it's kind of the enemies. Like Pagan Min's equivalent is Vars in Far Cry 3. I think it's Vars. I think that's his name.
Yeah, he was the guy on the front of the box, wasn't he?
Yes. And again, he's like a psycho, and it's characters like him that were more interesting as opposed to the protagonist.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see if there's much development with the protagonist. But I know from what gets said at the end, I get a bit more of an idea of how everyone's connected.
That's cool.
But yeah, so that's quite interesting. I haven't actually played it yet, but I have seen that secret Easter egg.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that and try that myself when I get the game. I think I'm going to pick it up at some point, probably on PC, maybe. So yeah, I'll have to remember that one. All right. What else you been on with this week?
So when I put Far Cry in, it was my typical. It needs to install or update or whatever. Yeah. So strangely enough, and I didn't think I'd play this game again, but I put Entwined on.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I put that on whilst it was updating, and played a reasonable amount. I've since completed it.
Oh, brilliant! Well done. Is there about 10 levels?
9.
9. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere around that figure.
And they get longer as it goes on, but I'd say they're about 10 minutes, 15 minutes each, 20 if you're playing badly.
Okay.
Because the mechanics, as you know, are you collecting these orbs which progress you towards the end of the run. But then if you
keep messing up.
Yeah, you lose what you've collected, and so
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way of failing. I think you just go down to 0, like energy or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so, and you'd have to just keep playing until you finally get it.
But yeah, so I really enjoyed that actually. Going back to it, I think it was like, I don't know about you, but I thought it was quite like a melancholy feel to it. Like,
yes, a little bit. I can see where you're coming from with that.
I don't know, just with, you know, the way it starts with the whole always together, forever apart.
Yeah,
and then
it's kind of a love story, but kind of a tragic one, isn't it? Between the bird and the fish.
Yeah, and even when you complete a level, you seem to have only brought them together temporarily,
and then they split up again.
Yeah, and it's strangely powerful for something that has like no dialogue or nothing written. Just literally, you just get this feeling that this fish and this bird just really want to be together.
It's all implied, isn't it? I guess, yeah, rather than explicit.
Yeah, which I guess, like talking about Journey earlier, is a similar kind of thing. There's some sort of implied stuff going on, but I don't know. But yeah, I did think like the combination of the kind of the music and the feel of it is quite powerful.
Yeah,
I know we said it's quite relaxing, and at first I was playing it just to kind of chill out and do a bit of brainless stuff. But,
that's cool.
The difficulty kind of peaks at like, well, not peaks, but really jumps up a notch. Did you get to, how far did you get?
I would guess about level 5, and it did start.
Yep.
I did notice it definitely got harder.
Yeah,
around there.
I think that's it. I think about 5, and then 6 was when I started kind of swearing at the screen, because you just
'cause some of the patterns you have to pull off. You have to have really nimble fingers, don't you?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you know how, I can't remember what you call it, but like, as if a drummer's got something in, you know, one foot doing completely out of sync with the other, and like you kind of splitting all your limbs out of coordination.
Yeah.
It gets a bit like that in that the right will be following one pattern and the left will be following another, which is fine when there's similar patterns at the same time, but it gets to a point where you have to do one thing with the right, and then in the middle of doing that, you'll have to start doing something completely different with the left.
Yep.
And it's just like, and I got to a point where there was some that I just never got, and I just had to bank on collecting the easier and medium ones, and then like I'd always fail on like some recurring patterns. It's just like
I found that I had one of my thumbs was more proficient than the other. I think my left thumb did a better job than my right thumb.
So if I remember correctly, that means your fish was better than your bird.
Yes, I think so.
So yeah, that gets really quite hard and frustrating if you just want to complete the level. And so that's when, once you've collected things and you get a tough one, you think, how the hell can people do that?
Yeah.
But
you did.
Yeah,
you completed.
I still managed to do enough of them, to make it through the game. But yeah, and then I realised there's something called the Evolved Dragon, and this was looking through the trophies, and I didn't even realise this at the time. But you can, if you get to the point where you've collected all the energy and you keep doing it for a bit longer before pressing L1 and R1 together to start working towards finishing.
Yeah.
If you collect for a bit longer, they start to like kind of glow, and then if you complete it after that glowing state, then you turn into a bigger, more colourful dragon. And in the final area where it kind of goes 3D and you have to collect.
Yeah.
You're a bigger dragon, and there's a trophy for finishing every level as the Evolved Dragon. And I looked at it and I was like, what the hell is the Evolved Dragon? Because I'd done it once on the first level by coincidence and never noticed.
Sure.
Because I must have just thought that was the way. And then the second time I did it, I didn't notice that the dragon looked a bit different.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not sure if I ever triggered that magic dragon then. I think I'll have just done the bog standard one every time. I think as soon as I got enough, I was like, right, onto the dragon bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool that you did a bit of digging, found that out. I don't think it's something I'd be bothered to do personally.
No. Well, it depends because as I say, it's quite, maybe not so much on the later levels, but the earlier ones are quite relaxing, it's quite chilled, the music's quite nice in its own melancholy kind of way. So I might go back and and try that. I went back and did the second level before it, which was fine because the second level was so easy after doing like the other, the last 4 levels were really tricky. So going back and doing level 2 was like a walk in the park.
Yeah, I guess it would be, wouldn't it? Cool.
So yeah, Entwined. I played that.
Glad you enjoyed that.
I went back to Mousecraft.
Oh, what are you doing?
Well, that cheese and those crystals aren't going to collect themselves. So
put it in the bin. What a waste of hard drive space.
Well, I didn't play it for long.
Okay. How did you get on?
I got an extra crystal. I redid a level where I only got 2 of the 3, and I got an extra one. And so I went on to another level, and I replayed it about 10 times and couldn't. Well, you don't restart levels, but you can undo moves.
So you kept going back and forwards,
and I couldn't get this last crystal, so turned it off.
Oh, good.
So yeah, that was it for Mousecraft.
Good riddance.
And my final one, the usual Witcher 3.
Oh, really? You've been playing Witcher 3 this week?
Who'd have thought it? I only played it once, but it was a few hour session.
Okay. Did you get up to much fun?
Well, it's probably worth mentioning, because last time you mentioned about the update.
Ah, yes, there was quite a big patch, wasn't there?
Yeah. And there's 3 main things I noticed from it. And I think a lot of people will be happy about it. And one is that there's these storage chests knocking about in different parts of the game world, so you get over encumbered a lot, so you've got too much stuff and you can't run, and you have to either drop stuff or sell it or whatever before you can carry on, and it becomes a bit of a ball ache. And sometimes you don't really know what to sell, or it's wise not to sell some stuff, and so you end up carrying it around, and then you become like overburdened again too quickly. But now they've kind of eradicated that by putting these storage chests where you can just leave stuff in and come back to it.
That's cool. Do the chests sync up with each other, or are they all separate chests?
I know they're in separate areas. I haven't actually put anything in them because I just got to a point where I got used to it and was just selling stuff quite ruthlessly. So I actually haven't tried a chest, but I certainly know I would have appreciated them, because you can get saddlebags for your horse, which increases the amount you can carry, and I've got a decent one of those anyway. So, but at the start of the game, you don't have a decent saddlebag, so I would have much appreciated it then.
Okay, cool.
But I haven't actually tried it. But yeah, I imagine they might. Hopefully, it's sync up, but I don't actually know.
So what else has changed that you've noticed?
There's a useful thing that tells you if you've read your books. So sometimes when you read books, you get information for quests, and sometimes you get things added to like the bestiary.
Cool.
But I never knew what I'd read and what I hadn't, so I just ruthlessly go through them all and then see.
So that now keeps track for you to some extent then.
Yeah, it just says in green you've already read this book, so you can sell it or get rid or whatever.
Yeah, that's helpful. Saves time.
Yeah. And another final nice little thing that I noticed is you can pin recipes, so you can see what you need when you're shopping. So basically a shopping list.
That's cool.
And it just pins it at the side.
So when you go into Asda, you don't forget your eggs and your bread.
Exactly.
Basically.
It's exactly like that. If you're going to make a potion out of that, eggs and bread, and you might need eggs, bread and rat poison, but when you're actually there with the merchant, you've forgotten you needed the rat poison. But if you pin it, it's there as a nice reminder every time.
You see all the reduced Pringles, the bread that's at its sell-by date, and you get all sidetracked. Yeah, you forget all about it, don't you?
See that nice shiny Gwent card, and forget why you're there. But yeah, apart from that, not a huge amount to say. I've completed the bloody Baron quest, which really went on for a while. It's a beautiful quest though, and it's full of choices.
That's good.
And I was quite satisfied with how it ended for me.
Yeah, you're pleased with the decisions you made.
Yeah, well, I really like the Bloody Baron, so I wanted to go down a route where I kind of worked with him, even though
That's cool.
He was a
bit of a dick,
drunken arsehole who made a million bad decisions. I still like this guy's fun, so
I can respect that. Definitely can respect that. I'm really keen to make a start on The Witcher myself. The more you tell me about it, I'm quite glad to some extent that I've waited, because then all of these little updates are now going to benefit me when I get into it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case.
So that's cool.
Yeah, one final thing that I found funny about it is I finally went to check out the island of Skellige.
Okay.
And the way you get there is by paying this guy 1,000 crowns, and he's just pissed. And
really?
Yeah, he's like, so you're talking to someone, it's like, well, you'll find him, I'll be in the bar, and then you go in, and you're like, can you take me to Skellige? And he's like, yeah. And then Geralt's like, well, shouldn't you sober up first? And he's like, no, I never sail sober. And then it's just like, I love this guy. Let's go.
Cool guy. I like it.
So there we go. That's what we've been playing.
That is what we've been playing. Well, I think we'll move on to... It's feature time, isn't it? And I think we'll start with Toilet Game of the Week. So what we've been playing this week.
Stuntman Stuart was the Toilet Game of the Week.
Ah, of course it was. I feel like I don't need to ask, but how did you get on?
I fucking hated it.
Okay, so your opinion's not changed since the last time I spoke to you then?
No. In fact, I've barely played it since then. And every time I do, it just reminds me of why I stopped playing it in the first place.
I feel quite guilty because it looked alright.
I think maybe it could have been. I don't know. Maybe some people like it, but there's really not a lot to say about it. You're just falling down, and you can move left and right to dodge. So he's a stuntman, and there's some director at the bottom who you only see when you die.
Okay.
And you dodge signposts, flagpoles, ledgers, just by moving left and right. And the longer you stay alive, the higher you score, or money you earn. But it's like you said before, it's an endless fall thing, so you can't win. You can just get a high score. And whenever you die, the director says, "Oh, not again," or "cut," or whatever.
All right.
But the score goes up really slowly unless you press down, and pressing down makes you fall really quickly. And pretty much every time I held that for anything more than a second, I'd just smash into something. If you're lucky, and it did seem to be a luck thing, you could do it for a while without something cropping up. But most of the time, I just held it down, and then he just hit something and die. And then there's too long between him dying and the level restarting. So
that's always frustrating.
It's just I'd say that's the worst thing about it. Like, the gameplay itself isn't very fun anyway, and I'd say it's too easy to die when you press down. I'd also say that the score between just falling at normal speed and pressing down is so massively kind of outweighed. Like, you can get a massive score just by holding down for getting lucky and getting, say, if you got 5 seconds where you didn't hit anything, you get like a massive score compared to if you probably spent 5 minutes at the normal speed pressing left and right and dodging stuff.
Oh wow, it's a bit of a weird balance to it, isn't it?
Yeah, it seemed like well out of balance, and so it encourages you to press down, but pressing down is really frustrating because most of the time it just kills you, and then you have to wait a few seconds while it scrolls to the bottom. The annoying director says cut or whatever, and then it scrolls back up to the start to start again. And so sometimes your actual gameplay lasts less time than it takes to restart. So
all the faffing in between.
Yeah,
that's not good, is it?
And that's it. That is Stuntman Stuart. And then it says, just pay us what you want. It's like, okay, I'll pay you nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Not a penny.
If I could pay less, I would.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I feel personally responsible.
But you gave it a go, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, which is quite rare. Usually, I won't give the games a look in at all, but you wanted to kind of get a second opinion this time round, didn't you?
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't being too harsh, or if there was something I was missing.
Yeah, and that's fair. But no, my opinion was very much the same as yours. It's completely unpredictable. There's no real way to kind of judge what's coming up, as you say, especially when you're pressing down to accelerate. I was just literally dying immediately.
Yes,
not really any fun to it at all.
No, I didn't enjoy it at all either. So there we go.
Well, another one bites the dust. Hopefully you will have more fun with this week's one.
Hopefully.
Which is Deadlock Online.
Online?
Online.
You're going to make me play people online?
Yeah, I'm going to make you play with real people over the internet.
Oh, there's no real people
You're
on the
going to love it.
It's just trolls and...
Oh, you're going to be playing against lots of trolls, believe me.
Oh.
And this is a phone game, so probably lots of 8-year-olds.
Oh, man. They'll all be better than me as well.
Oh, probably. Hopefully there's microphone support so they can scream at you.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'll give you a little bit of a synopsis. Step into the world of Deadlock, the most epic, and epic here has a capital letter, so it must really be fucking epic.
Which letter do they capitalise? A random one?
The E. No, it is the E, so it's somewhat
with a capital
grammatically
I.
correct. So it is definitely the most epic online shooter. Join in on the action and play against thousands of other players in online matches. Gorgeous 3D graphics. Up to 8-player online. Over 30 weapons. 30 ranks to earn. And 7 maps. So what this actually is I think it's a top-down shooter. Now, I'm intrigued how this will work. I can see you're kind of smirking.
I'm just listening for more information, that's all.
Yeah, so this actually came out first on iOS. It's been out on iOS for like 4 years. And it's finally been brought over to Android.
Cool.
Apparently the iOS version was pretty popular. Apparently it was fairly well received. So hopefully you'll get on well with this. Hopefully it'll be better than Stuart at least.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, I fucking hope so. So yeah, it's some kind of top-down, I don't know, sort of top-down shooter. You get different weapons. It's free to play, so yeah, no price of entry. You can dive straight into it, and we'll see how you get on.
Cool. Sorry, what was it called again?
Deadlock Online, and that's with a colon. Deadlock Online. Can't forget your colon.
What, Deadlock and then COLON?
Yes, no.
Because
it's
I would
punctuated.
Play. Yeah, top-down shooter.
Now, what you really don't want is a deadlocked colon.
You don't.
That is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, get some Senecop on that bad boy. Clear yourself out.
Yeah, so it's nice to know you've given me a game about constipation this week.
Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how you get on. So good luck. Well, my feature game for this week for Bargain Bin Bundle Bollocks was a little title called Incognito.
Like Chrome when you're watching porn.
When you're watching porn, basically, yeah. So there's kind of midget fetish stuff, redheads, interracial.
That massive fetish, redheads.
Yeah, so I know it's nothing to do with Chrome, sadly, and browsing the internet. It's quite different, as it turns out. I got it in a bundle with 5 other games. It was an Indie Gala Every Monday bundle. So as the name suggests, every Monday they put out a bundle of indie games of mixed quality. There were a couple of alright looking ones in this bundle, but this is Bargain Bin Bundle Bollocks. It's not about Bargain Bin Bundle Brilliance. Mm-hmm. So those got pushed to the side in favour of this, which looked a bit stupid. And it turns out that, in fact, it was.
Oh, good.
Now, I don't know much about it, and I feel like I need to do some research, but I kind of prefer not knowing anything about it. So it kind of seems like a somewhat recent game and a really old one all at the same time.
Right.
The graphics are very outdated. I've actually recorded a video for this to put on our YouTube.
Oh,
I've got to get it all processed. Hopefully that all gets sorted out okay, and I can upload that so you can see for yourself.
So we'll put that on the YouTube, and it'll probably be on the post at some point as well. If people want to check it out.
Oh, they found you.
Oh, again.
They found you. Yeah, so very, very outdated visually. I I can't put my finger on whether it's just an old game or whether it's a indie game with a limited budget.
Either way.
It's kind of sci-fi. Well, it's very sci-fi. You're a robot with other robots flying in a spaceship. And it's kind of just loads of games in one. So you start out in first person exploring the spaceship. You go fly to your first mission. And then all of a sudden, it kind of took me by surprise, it kind of went into strategy mode. And it was almost like a RPG strategy. No, sorry, RTS sort of strategy. Top down, moving tanks around and stuff.
Right.
But you do fight enemies, but the main objective is to actually mine valuable rare materials on other planets.
Okay.
So you've got to get those resources and fight off any enemies you find. And then after a couple of levels of doing that, I then couldn't do it that way, and then it had to switch into a first-person shooter. That part was particularly bad. Like, that felt very outdated.
Did you have health?
Yes.
Because that's not very common anymore, is it?
No, it isn't. That's quite an outdated thing nowadays. The shooting mechanics were so bad. Awful. Just these little pew-pew laser pistols. Horrendously inaccurate. I didn't know what I was meant to do. You should see in the video, I actually got stuck. Because I needed to hack some consoles to give me access to this last element I needed. But then I wasn't sure what I was meant to do. After that, I was just kind of stuck on this planet, and I couldn't find a way to get off it or to finish the level.
And there was no queue or anything telling you what to
No. There was no objective marker or anything like that. So at that point, I just gave up. I'd had enough. The game has a bit of character, sort of. It's got a little bit of voice acting. Kind of have some robots talking. It's very unique in that it mixes different genres up, but it's just basically loads of shit games all together in one.
I'm still trying to figure out why it's called Incognito.
Yeah.
Because there doesn't sound anything kind of stealthy or...
I didn't see anything stealthy, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if they chucked a bit of Splinter Cell-esque gameplay in there as well for good measure.
Yeah, just for the last bit of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah, I wasn't impressed, which I rarely am in this feature, to be fair. I was actually wanting to try a couple of different games. I had my sight set on Chernobyl Commando, which is really awful looking FPS.
Was this in the same bundle?
That looked brilliant. That was in a different one.
Oh.
So I've actually bought a few bundles recently, and some have let me down because I couldn't seem to get the game working. It was that good. It wouldn't even run. The same with Dementium 2 HD, which looked like some sort of low-budget horror game.
Well, I heard great things about Dementium 1, so...
Did you really?
No.
Oh. I was going to say, I don't know a thing about it. And again, that just kept crashing. So, these shitty games, they're not fun to play, and they don't often run either.
Well, maybe you need to get a high-spec PC.
I probably do, don't I?
To run these
rubbish games. So that was disappointing. I'll have a bit of a tinker. Maybe
bad craftsman blames his tools or whatever.
Absolutely. So yeah, I wasn't overly enamoured with Incognito, it has to be said. It wasn't what I was expecting. It was pretty weird, pretty unusual, but it was just really low production values. I didn't really find anything that kind of stuck out to me.
So when you get
nothing positive.
When you got stuck, did you manage to get out of it?
No, I just gave up. I was like, fuck this. Well, I died, and then I was like, I give up.
Yeah. I
accidentally I was just pissing about, accidentally blew myself up. I just gave up.
Yeah.
I was like, I've had enough of this. I played it for about half an hour.
Well, I'll look forward to seeing the footage.
Yes. It's the first kind of Let's Play sort of video I've done. As I say, a lot of the time I'm kind of stuck and wandering around, so I'm not sure exactly how entertaining it'll be, but you'll have to see.
I will.
I'll hopefully get that uploaded soon.
Great.
Cool. So I'm keeping an eye out for some good bundles for next week. Hopefully get another quality game that can actually run. Cool. So, in our usual schedule, we'll move on to the news now.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about from the news lately?
I'm happy for you to take the lead on this.
All right, yep, I'll make a start. So, we've talked about Witcher 3, obviously, a game that you've played once or twice now.
Yeah, I'm reasonably familiar with Witcher 3.
And as we've discussed, there's been a lot of updates, a lot of kind of free DLC things added to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is, it's probably going to be the last bit of free DLC is a New Game Plus mode.
Yeah, just mention DLC. I didn't realise until looking through there was loads of free stuff, like you've mentioned, that I haven't downloaded.
Oh, really?
Like extra quests and... Yeah,
well, it does sound that it is a bit sparse on content, so I think you could really do loading up on all that extra DLC.
I wasn't exactly thinking, I really need all this extra stuff, but I should make sure I do it before I complete Act 1 in case any of it's Act 1 quests.
Could be.
But yeah, sorry, went off course there. So now they're doing, on top of all that stuff, a New Game Plus.
Yeah, as if the game wasn't long enough in the first place, you're now encouraged to complete it and then complete it all over again.
Yeah, if... I would be surprised if I'd be pleased if I even complete it in the first place, let alone
same here.
Do a New Game Plus. I don't think that's necessary. I'm not surprised they've done it, but it's one of those. Some people play games an awful lot.
They do, and
some people.
I don't know about you, but I did as a kid. You know, you have so much free time. As we've discussed before, kids technically shouldn't be playing The Witcher, but if I was a kid right now, I would be playing The Witcher, probably.
Well, that's it, yeah. I guess there's a difference between, say, I don't know, an 8-year-old playing it and someone is 15, 16.
Yes, that's it.
I can imagine 15, 16 playing that and loving it in some sort of summer holiday.
And
although
these kind
by
of kids
that point,
are prestiging
jobs. But...
Well, yeah, true. But yeah, these kind of sorts are kind of prestiging on COD up to like level 10. So they'd be probably quite happy to do New Game Plus, start Witcher all over again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I had more time, I could actually see myself doing it and just trying things different. But no, as I say, I think...
It could be a slow burner, maybe something you come back to in a year, perhaps, after finishing it.
Or when you've retired.
Yeah, perhaps. When you're living on your island.
Yeah, finally do that New Game Plus on Witcher.
Yeah, good stuff. Talking of content updates, Splatoon, I've heard, is getting a big update in August sometime.
You haven't played any more of that lately, have you?
I've not, and I keep meaning to go back to it, but then at the same time I keep seeing new maps added, new guns added, and I'm like, well, at least when I go back to it there'll be loads of new stuff to play with. And there's going to be even more with this big update. So it's another free update. Like The Witcher, it's been well supported after release. Included, there's going to be over 40 new bits of gear. A couple of new modes that I think are sort of geared around playing with your friends. So I think at the moment it's a bit limited for kind of teaming up with friends against online players. So I think there's modes to better facilitate that.
That's a bit of a no-brainer, I'd have thought.
It is, yeah. There are some... It's great that Splatoon's getting all this extra content after release, but some things really should have been in day one. One of my main disappointments is that there's no split screen. Well, no proper split screen anyway. Like with Mario Kart, you and a buddy can team up and go online, race online, but you can't do that in Splatoon.
What, you can just play split screen offline?
Yeah, I think it's some special mode. It sounds a bit crap, doesn't interest me. What else was there? Oh yeah, some new weapon types as well, and they're raising the level cap from 20 to 50, so that's quite a big jump.
Yeah, just a bit.
That's cool. What else have we got? Razer, so that's the accessories, PC accessories company. I've got a few Razer products myself. I've got an overpriced mouse mat that I'm currently using. That cost me 30 quid. Don't quite know why I bought that.
What did you get with your mouse mat that justified 30 quid?
I don't know. It was a present. And I thought it was like... It looked on the picture like it was made of metal. But it's
Would you want that
plastic
anyway?
mouse mat. Well, at the time... Okay, so it's hard to explain, but at the time, my situation... I used to play games a lot on my laptop. That was my main gaming machine. On the sofa. And I kind of wanted a hard mouse mat that I could have... I mean, this is really sort of sad and nerdy, but I wanted to be able to sit on the sofa with my laptop on my knee and have an external mouse on a hard mouse mat next to me. And it's kind of hard, but it's not quite metal as I was expecting. It was also a present, so I didn't pay for
Couldn't you just stick a mouse mat on a tray?
Well, that's kind of what I did in the end, because this wasn't,
it wasn't metal.
100% hard. Yeah, it's a good mouse mat. I'll give you that. I've had it 4 years. So, you know, sort of got my money out of it.
Yeah.
At the same time, I also got an £80 mouse. 70 or £80, I think it was. And that's the mouse I use for work.
Oh, that beast. Yes.
Yeah, so the Naga, pretty cool Molten Lava edition.
Pretty sure that's a type of
red
curry.
lights.
I've had a Naga before.
Do you reckon? Could be. I think it's named after a type of snake. Anyway, we're getting a bit off track here, aren't we? So
it's a Razer, right?
Razer make pretty cool, overpriced PC gear, and they've bought out Ouya. And I don't know why the hell they've done that. Have you heard of Ouya?
Yes.
Or Ouya? Or, I don't know. You have?
Yeah, but remind me.
Yeah, so it was kind of meant to be a revolutionary new console based off Android.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to say some kind of funky console, but I wasn't 100% sure.
So, yeah, it was I think initially it was about £100 Android console, quite low powered.
Was it supposed to be potentially revolutionary for like indie people getting on it?
That's correct, and we'll move on to that in a sec. One of the main first games on it was Towerfall. So Towerfall came to the Ouya.
Wasn't that voted the best game ever?
Yeah, I think by that Christopher McCormick.
Oh yeah,
when he'd had around 5 or 6 cans.
Yeah,
and was a bit sloshed. He did quite proudly proclaim it was the best game he'd ever played.
Yeah, so something good came out of the Ouya.
Something good came out of the Ouya, because thankfully it didn't stay on that shitty console and it moved to better ones.
I didn't even realise it was out.
Pretty good game.
Ouya, I mean.
You didn't know the Ouya was out?
No.
Oh. Well, yeah, it's been out for years and tanked miserably. Not many people bought it. Development kind of dried up. What was interesting about it is Ouya had promised to actually pay indie devs to develop for the console to kind of, I don't know, encourage them.
Yep.
Somewhat. But they never really paid hardly any of them. Overall, it was like $1 million they were going to pay between these different indie devs, and they never really paid it. So there's a big uproar when Ouya kind of went under, and Razer have now bought them out. Razer didn't actually realise this, apparently. So now they've kind of been lumped with the debt. They're probably not legally obligated, but morally and kind of PR-wise, people would be really pissed off if the indie devs don't get their money, understandably.
Yep.
So Razer have promised they're going to make good.
Is there any idea of what Razer plans next?
I have no idea. No idea
resurrect
whatsoever.
this beast.
I don't know why they would resurrect it. I know Nvidia, they've recently kind of made their own version of the Ouya, almost. It's sort of similar idea, Android set-top box. But what's cool with that is that you can stream games from your PC, and it's also quite powerful graphically. I think it runs on Android anyway. I don't know. I could be wrong. So yeah, they've kind of made their own take on the Ouya. So maybe Razer want to do something like that. That's the only thing I can think of.
Watch this space, eh?
Watch this space. I think the final bit of news we'll mention, not directly gaming related, but somewhat, is Windows 10 is out today.
Yeah, I signed up for that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Have you not got the sort of update yet?
No. Well, when I first got the sign-up thing, it just popped up. And it was like...
in your system tray,
Yeah.
get a little icon.
So, I don't know if there's anything knocking about now. I'll have to have a look.
Hang on, I've got my icon on my computer here. We're validating Windows 10 for your PC. Okay, notify me when ready. So I don't think I can get it quite yet. So it's kind of out. It's rolling out in waves.
Oh, okay.
Some people have got it now. So obviously Windows 10 isn't directly gaming related, but it is somewhat. As I've said before, the PC is my gaming platform of choice, even though I do like my consoles as well. And a couple of things of note with Windows 10. They're trying to make it quite well optimized this time round. So with Vista, that was shit for games. Basically, you'd guarantee to lose some frames per second over running the same game on the same machine with XP. Just because of the overheads of Vista, it was so resource hungry. So it actually made games run worse. Windows 7 was better again. Sorry, my cats are pissing about in the background. You might be able to hear that. Yeah, so Windows 7 was better again, and Windows 8. And with Windows 10, they're truly trying to get it well optimized. And also some Xbox One sort of connectivity. So you can stream, if you've got an Xbox One, you can stream your games onto any Windows 10 PC, which is quite cool.
Oh.
Or Windows 10 tablet. So obviously a very low powered machine displaying a moderately powerful game.
Right.
I'm personally a bit nervous because I've got so many games that could potentially go wrong, so much software and equipment and stuff, that a couple of incompatibilities here and there would annoy me. So I'm probably going to hold off for a little bit.
What, from updating?
From updating, yes.
Until you feel a bit more confident about it.
Yeah,
or if you don't, then don't do it.
Yeah, I'll get some more general impressions. I'll definitely update at some point because, I mean, we can't complain. It's a bloody free update, which is pretty awesome. Never done that before.
No.
So I will do it at some point, but I might wait if there's some bugs that could do with working out. But definitely be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So
you missed one out.
I missed one out? What have I missed?
The first game announced for the Nintendo NX.
Oh, yeah, so this is a bit of a weird one. Thanks for reminding me about that one.
Oh, you're welcome.
And it's something I've not looked into a huge amount. But the NX supposedly is not coming out for ages. Nintendo claim they're not dropping the Wii U, even though they kind of must be because it's done so badly. Although, in related news, it's just been announced today the Wii U has sold 10 million units.
Right, okay.
So that's better than nothing.
10 million Wii units.
Ah, look at you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
What a joker. Love it. So yeah, they've sold 10 million. That's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the NX they claimed isn't going to be for a long time, but the other day we had an announcement of the first game that was going to be on it.
And what was that? It wasn't
Dragon Quest 11. Never played any of the Dragon Quest series.
Nor me.
No, so RPG, I guess.
We're not exactly psyched between us, are we?
No, it looks alright, I guess.
Oh, they're all supposed to be really good, but
yeah, I do hear some good things about them, so might check it out if I get a NX, whenever that is.
Knowing you probably will.
Probably will, won't I? Yeah, it's like I bought a Wii U. Actually, I don't regret my Wii U.
No,
it's pretty sweet. I don't care that it's tanked. I've had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, there are some good things on it, games on it. So.
But it's interesting because, you know, as soon as you get the first game announced for your next console, you kind of see this trend. You know, everyone starts to realise that the Wii U must be to some extent winding down, and which is a really short life cycle for a console.
When was it? When did it first come out? Can you remember?
Ooh, no, I can't. I'm sorry. Probably 6 months to a year before the PS4 and Xbone. So it's been out for a few years, but it's not obviously a great life cycle.
No, not at all.
Nintendo do claim they're going to keep supporting it. That remains to be seen, because they're not supporting it that well at the moment, to be honest. Keep getting the odd game here and there. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I see what you mean. it doesn't give a good vibe for the current console one.
It does make you lose faith a little bit, has to be said.
But then, and then there's like some contradictory statement. Oh, we're not giving up, but it's kind of like saying things just because if they were like, oh, we are totally giving up on it, then it's not going to help sales. If the sales are bad enough anyway, then
that's quite right. They sort of have to lie, don't they? You can't blame them. All right, so that's the news done and dusted.
Yes,
for this week, which means we have one final thing to get on to, which is upcoming releases. Now, same again, we're still in the sort of summer drought, not got a lot worth mentioning, but would you like to run us through some things we've got to look forward to?
Yeah, so if you're a fan of 2D puzzle platformers that are extremely hard and unforgiving, then I believe N++ will be for you.
Are you a fan of 2D platformers that are extremely hard and unforgiving?
I think it's fair to say that I'm probably not. Like, apart from loving Super Meat Boy, it's not usually my bag.
You might like N++.
Well, I've watched a bit of it, and it didn't excite me.
Okay.
They were extremely proud of themselves in this kind of trailer, bragging about everything that it is and bragging about everything that it isn't. No story, no this, no that, no levels up, no ammo, no motion controls, no bad controls, like all this stuff. 2,360 levels I've written down here.
That's not bad, is it? To be fair, that's quite a few.
That's a hell of a lot of levels.
I mean, essentially, this is quite an old game now. I think the original game was N, and then it was N+, which was on the last console generation quite some time ago. That was one of the sort of earlier Xbox Live Arcade releases.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was N+, and then we finally now seeing it as N++. Probably going to have N++ on the NX and stuff, I'd imagine.
Funny you should say that. One of the no list was no sequels, so maybe not.
So this must be the last one.
Well,
they're probably going to move on to the next letter in the alphabet now, aren't they?
O.
Yeah, O. O+.
O-, and then on to normal.
O negative.
Yeah, you could go, and that's a blood type.
Yeah, probably avoid that.
That's a prequel to O.
Yes, we'll go with that. So, something that doesn't excite either of us, but certainly worth mentioning.
I think, I don't know. People seem quite excited about it from comments and stuff, and I get the impression the controls are down to a T. And
yes,
and yeah, as you say, it's got its niche. It has. I think I got the impression it's going to be one of those games where you have to absolutely nail it to get through stuff. And so
no room for error.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to feel great when it's going well. You're going to feel extremely frustrated when it's not. But if that's your bag, then... And you're going to get your value for money if that's your kind of thing.
You certainly will. Will.
But yeah.
Cool. What's next?
So the next on the list, I've got Rare Replay.
Oh, yes.
Which is celebrating 30 years of Rare games by giving you 30 games.
Can't say fairer than that, can you? So that was announced at the Xbox One conference at E3, wasn't it?
I believe so, yeah. Are they remastered? I don't know. How do they look? I don't know.
That is a good question, actually. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they'll be heavily remastered. Some games have already been remastered to some extent. So you've got like Perfect Dark, which was originally on the N64. They already made a 360 version of that. So I think it'll be the Xbox 360 version. Whether all the games will be kind of up-resed to some extent, because particularly some of the original like N64 games on there, we've got like Blast Core, Banjo-Kazooie. They'd look pretty terrible if you just have them straight plonked
on your nice big widescreen telly.
Yeah, no TLC done at all. There's got to be some work done on them, I imagine.
There's some seriously old school games as well. Like
there are.
I spotted Snake, Rattle and Roll from the NES, and I remember playing that.
I remember that one. I don't think I liked it, but I do remember it.
I loved it. I don't think I'd love it now.
No, that's the thing.
And it was like... sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say I'm actually quite jealous of Xbox One owners, and that's not something I say very often.
I think I'd buy this.
I would definitely buy this in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So yeah, just to mention a few other titles that we haven't already. Did we say Battletoads? That's on there.
Fucking Battletoads.
That's a favourite, isn't it?
Everyone raves about Battletoads, and I used to play it back in the day, and me and my mate used to have a good laugh about it. It was co-op, which was pretty cool, but it's just stupidly hard.
Yeah, that's
the first level. I think is really good, and then after that, it just gets harder and harder, and it's just ridiculous. Like you can't really pass the third level. I think I passed it once or twice, and then the fourth one's just even. Well, it's still stupidly hard. So then you just die. It's not fun.
Yeah, I never got an impression anything like that's particularly fun. If it's just frustrating, so fuck it. But yeah, if that's your bag, that's involved.
Yeah, some will like that.
Killer Instinct Gold, Jet Force Gemini. I played that. That was good.
Oh, I always wanted that on the N64. I never got it. Maybe if I get an Expo and I could finally play it.
Yeah, it was alright actually. It wasn't... I wouldn't say it was one of the best on the console, but it was kind of up there in the near best, maybe.
Cool.
And it was massive as well for its day. Big
Good
game.
stuff.
You played as a girl, a guy, and a dog. I remember.
Oh, well, that's fully representing everyone there, isn't it? Really,
a lot of households. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day. That's on it.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
That's a favourite. So.
Bloody love that.
And a hell of a load more. So.
Can't complain.
I think it's going for £30, isn't it, as well, or $30?
Yeah,
just all the 30s. So
I think I've seen it even cheaper than that.
Yeah, it'll drop pretty quick, won't it? So.
I seem to remember that they advertise it's going to have like 10,000 achievement points or something mental.
Well, funny you should say that. I noticed that in the trailer for it. Yeah,
all right.
10,000 gamer score, I think. Which it's been a while since I've taken any notice of gamer score, so I wasn't 100% sure how much that is. What do you usually get for one game? 1,000 maximum?
Yes, one full release, no DLC, is 1,000. A downloadable title, I don't know what it is like now on the Xbone, but back in the day, a downloadable title would probably only be like 250. You could only get around that. So yeah, 10,000 is a huge amount. Like I've probably only got 25,000 gamer score overall from all the years that I played Xbox.
Yeah, so that puts it in perspective.
I was never really much of an achievement whore, so I didn't go out of my way to collect them.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and that's fair enough. I do it a bit, but I usually enjoy it. I don't tend to do stuff I don't really enjoy.
No,
sometimes
not
I do
though. Yeah, been on Drift Girls lately?
No.
Oh, you've kicked it to the curb.
I'm drifting off,
drifting away. Sexy anime ladies.
I know.
Never mind. Moving on. What else?
Yeah. So, Submerged. Do you know much about Submerged?
I didn't, but now I do.
Me too.
So I'd never heard of Submerged until I had a quick look into it. I actually really like the look of it. So it's a third-person combat-free game. That's what it's kind of advertised as. And you're basically a girl who, I think she has to carry around her ill brother, and they're kind of rowing a boat. And
well, I don't think he's rowing.
Oh, no, probably not. He's kind of just slumped there, feeling a bit sorry for himself. So, just kind of exploring this desolate city. And it looks pretty sweet. It reminds me a lot of Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which Now, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, it's kind of like Journey. I thought it's basically a walking simulator again. A couple of puzzles thrown in, nice graphics, nice music. But I actually liked Brothers a lot more.
Okay.
I thought it had a lot more charm to it. And the puzzles, there was a bit more to them. You felt a bit more interaction with the game. I really liked Brothers. I thought that was great. It's another kind of shortish game. Nice indie title. And this reminds me a lot of that. So I'm quite interested in this. I'm going to keep an eye on it, definitely. Won't be surprised if I pick that up.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
I thought it looked alright. It's interesting that we've been talking a lot about games that seem to be emphasising a kind of experience, like a relaxing, kind of chill out, aesthetic kind of experience. And that's pretty much seemingly what they were going for, describing the beautiful visuals, and the relaxing environments, and I can't remember if the music got mentioned, but and it was kind of like go at your own pace kind of thing, combat free, take in the sights.
That sounds lovely, doesn't it?
Which I guess is kind of contrasting to, if your brother was dying, there should probably be some sense of urgency.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not putting them in there. So you won't, as far as I can tell, you won't be up against the clock. You'll be going around looking for supplies for him.
I mean, it's a common trope, really. Like with Brothers, you had to get some medicine for your sick father. It also reminds me to some extent of Shadow of the Colossus, where you're exploring a desolate landscape because you've got to kind of try and revive your deceased girlfriend or something. So it sort of almost reminded me of that as well.
But you might as well, take in the sights while you're doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's
just because everyone's on death's door doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself.
Oh, definitely. You've got to make the most of what life throws at you, haven't you?
Absolutely.
Cool. So, stop press just before we started recording this. We also got the latest PS Plus update announced, didn't we?
Oh yeah, and I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely thrilled.
You're thrilled?
That was sarcasm. It's pretty gash.
Thing is, we said this about Entwined and stuff, didn't we? And actually, you fucking love Mousecraft.
Oh, Mousecraft's game of the year, mate.
Oh, terrible. You quite like Sticks. We like Entwined. Anyway, carrying on. So, I was initially pretty disappointed with this one. I'm still moderately disappointed, but there's a couple I'll give a go. So do you want to start listing what we've got to look forward to?
So the first is Lara Croft Temple of Osiris. Is that how?
Yes. So this is
Isn't that a disease?
So, are you thinking of psoriasis or something?
Could be psoriasis, yeah.
Possibly. So I think that's a 4-player co-op adventure kind of... It's not your typical Tomb Raider, but it's very, very much kind of tomb-based, lots of puzzles.
It's pretty old, that one, isn't it? Aren't you running around with some sort of temple guardian or something?
You're thinking of Guardian of Light or something?
Oh, man.
So that was where this style originated with... I don't think it's called Guardian of Light. It's something like that. That was the initial one, and then I think Temple of Osiris is a new version of that.
Okay,
so this one is somewhat recent.
Right.
Somewhat recent. That looks alright. We might have to try that at some point. Go co-op.
A bit of co-op,
give it a spin. Next we had Limbo for the PS4 as well. Now I bloody hate Limbo. I don't like it at all.
Miserable fucking game.
It's miserable. It's so depressing, and not in a good way like Dark Souls. It's just dreary and awful. Get in the bin.
Yeah,
rubbish.
I actually completed it, but
did you? You got a lot further than I did.
I don't know why. I don't know why I did. I didn't. It was one of those ones again where it's just like, I don't know. I think people rave about it and they go, "Oh, the end's so beautiful," and it's all so beautiful. I completed it. It's kind of like, is that
it's rubbish.
Yeah,
rubbish.
Overrated, I'd say, but whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure that we're probably pissing some people off. Never mind. Sound Shapes next, talking of overrated games. Now, loads of people rave about this. Sound Shapes. They say, oh, it's such a beautiful game. You make music and it's wonderful.
To me, the name Sound Shapes makes me think of some sort of aid for deaf people. Not deaf people, sorry. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. We've made sound shapes to help people understand sound by making them into shapes.
I don't know. I bought it a while ago after hearing a lot of good press, and I used to play it on the train, and I think it literally sent me to sleep. I actually nodded off once.
That's all right.
I almost missed my stop. I was almost late to work.
So give me a bit of an idea of what you do.
It's kind of like it's sort of a platformer-ish, but you've got to kind of do stuff to the beat. You've got to activate these little nodes, and then they play music. I just didn't find much to it. It's just there. It's one of those games that's kind of art for art's sake. Again, I wasn't impressed at all. Didn't like it. It's free. Give it a go. You might like it more. You never know.
I might try that out. It sounds
you should try
simple enough to try out.
Yes. It's really laid back. Worth a go. What next?
Stealth Inc. 2.
I played the first Stealth Inc. for about a minute, and I was like, this is alright, but it's not my bag.
Excellent.
So that's that. Do you know much about this one?
No, nothing at all.
As I say, I've not had the most experience with it. So it's kind of a stealth game, 2D platformer-ish, sort of puzzly. I don't know. Some people like that kind of thing, don't they? Worth a shot, possibly. Yeah. I think the last one, well, the first one, I think that came free on PS Plus. That's how I played the first one. Okay.
So you gave it a chance.
Yeah. So, God of War Ascension. Back to God of War, aren't we?
Seen a lot of this.
Lots of God of
We've
War
only done 6 episodes, and God of War's cropped up in about 3 of them.
I think it has. So Ascension, I think that's the one after 3, but before 4. And it's kind of I think it's where it sounds like it's where they start to run out of ideas a bit. It's basically the same game every time, isn't it? It's Kratos getting vengeance, and it sounds like it's getting a bit old by that time.
What I'm picturing now is a bit like how Batman got to Origins and was really scraping the bottom of the barrel for bad guys. I can imagine after so much God of War, you're pretty much running out of Greek mythology.
I think it was, I don't know, I think it was like a prequel, and so he was just fighting the same gods again. Oh, I can't remember. But that's a PS3 title anyway. Not sure I can even be bothered to boot up my PS3 for that. Look at the world we live in. Ungrateful bastards. First world problems.
Really is.
All these games, and we're getting them essentially for free, and we just can't be fucked.
Well, I wouldn't be fucked with that. I wouldn't play that if someone paid me. Well, I say that if I was paid enough, but...
Oh, yeah.
You know.
It's probably okay, isn't it? Well,
probably.
Yeah, probably.
If you skip the cutscenes.
I believe there's one left. Get to do the honours for the final game.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this one. This one's Castlestorm.
You're excited about this one?
Oh, definitely.
What platform are you planning to play it on? I have to ask.
I'm going to buy Vita just so I can play it.
Oh, do it, mate. You should definitely buy Vita. Vita's a brilliant. Bloody love my Vita.
And I can play it on the commute to work.
What, while you're walking along the road?
I'm walking,
just like walking out in front of cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Playing Castlestorm.
Add a bit of risk to the journey.
Why not? I don't know a huge amount about this. One of my mates raved about it once, but don't know a lot. Do you?
No, after all that, I recognise the name, but that's it. No, I don't know anything about Castlestorm. Off the top of my head.
So I think it's some kind of like siege game, attacking a castle.
I imagine so. I imagine you're probably storming the castle, yeah.
Ooh, you might be onto something there. It looks alright. I'm going to try that one. I'm going to try Lara Croft and Castlestorm, and the rest can get fucked.
Okay, well, I'll do Sound Shapes and Stealth Inc. then.
Ooh, sounds good. Yeah, I like that. We'll do that. We'll do that, shall we?
And so, can you get these, what, start of August, 1st of August, straight away? Is that how it works?
It's the 4th of August.
Oh, bloody hell.
They've changed it now so that I think it's the first Tuesday of every month. It's a really weird way of doing it.
I guess it adds a bit of a Tuesday is a bit of a non-entity day for most people, isn't it? It's kind of like...
Quite right.
So now...
Sort of spice up your week a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can respect that. But I think the US gets it on a regular day each month, so I don't know why we don't do that. Oh well.
Yeah.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, I'll take them on Tuesday, that's fine.
Well, I think that's all of our releases done.
Yeah. So that's
quite dramatic, that sound in the background there. Passing car, was it?
Yeah, just down here in the bunkers, pretty close to the road.
Okay, good stuff. So yeah, I think that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No. I think that's it for gaming.
Lovely jubbly. So we'll wish the audience at home farewell and thank them for listening once more.
Thank you very much.
We really should get these up on YouTube and stuff at some point. We're going to be having our little YouTube videos, aren't we? Yeah. For our features, but I think we'll also get the podcast up on YouTube. Still need to do the bloody social, don't we?
We do.
We will do that at some point. We promise. We promise. So you can follow us and pledge your allegiance to the Inexperienced Points army.
The growing army.
The growing army. Probably.
There's 3 of us now.
Yeah, give or take. Cool. So we hope this podcast has turned out okay, considering the new format. Hopefully the recording goes all right. Apologies if it's a bit shit. Probably teething issues to get through. We'll see, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we will bid you adieu.
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you've loved it, leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Ooh. Or contact us. I know I would say contact us via the website, but you can't yet. So we will put a contact page on the website.
If you scream loud enough, we'll hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. All right then. Thanks again. Cheers.
See ya.
Goodbye. Good stuff.
Do you want to talk about Deep Throat?
Yes. I love a bit of Deep Throat.
Stick it in at the end.
Stick it in. Why not? It'd be rude not to. So yeah, I'm intrigued by this. I've heard of the film.
It's a classic.
It's quite a famous one, isn't it? But I've never experienced it for myself.
Yeah. So this wasn't my idea, actually. That might surprise some people, but no. Zoe wanted to watch Deep Throat.
Zoe wanted to watch it. Good girl.
I think mainly. Well, she says mainly because she thought it looked funny. It wasn't. Well, I don't know what it was. You don't know. It was just.
You were left feeling very confused, were you?
It was horrific. It was just so. From 1972, so downloaded it and it was like ripped from a VHS or something.
Lovely.
Terrible quality. Some seriously hairy muffs in there.
Ooh, lovely. Were there any nice tashes on the blokes?
Yeah, there was your stereotypical porn star tashes.
Excellent.
Some pretty extreme tan lines on one guy.
Cool.
They did their own music. The music was so like there was really loud music over like the sex scenes. So it was just like,
what is it with that kind of era and doing terrible music for porn? I don't get it. Did it make sense at the time? It can't have done, surely.
No, it was just like, it was really distracting, and they wrote their own. And so, like, honestly, the Deep Throat song, I recommend looking it up, because it's the lyrics are something like, don't get your goat, don't row a boat, deep throat.
What?
And this is like
That's brilliant.
That's getting sung in the background whilst...
So is it comedy?
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a combination of comedy and porn.
So it is genuine porn as well?
Yeah, it's full-on porn.
Okay. But it's a few laughs here and there for good measure.
Well, yeah, just the whole premise of it, in case you don't know, is that the main woman who the character's called Linda Lovelace and played by Linda Lovelace, she is upset because she can't, although she's got a really active sex life, she can't have an orgasm.
Oh no, it's no good, is it?
No, so
frustrating.
And straight away at the start, like a housemate comes up with a really good plan of just inviting loads of guys round to shag her in order.
Oh yeah,
and to see if one of them can make it happen. So that's like the first sex scenes out of the way.
Okay,
and she just agrees to this. Oh yeah, good idea. Just let loads of random guys come round and shag me. So they have a party, and it doesn't work out. One comedy moment during this party is there's a threesome going on, and the housemate's getting shagged, and another guy's like licking her out, and this guy, the guy on the top's dick falls out and falls on the other guy's face. And they didn't edit it out; they just left it in.
That's fantastic.
So some guy got slapped on the chin.
That's all good fun, isn't it? It's all part of the job.
Well, yeah, these things happen in porn. But yeah, so she goes to the doctor, and it turns out that unfortunately she doesn't have she thinks she doesn't have a clitoris, but then the doctor realises that it's actually deep down her throat.
Right.
So she can achieve orgasm by performing deep throat.
Well, that's sounds like a mutually beneficial arrangement, doesn't it?
Well, the doctor then goes on to test it.
Well, you've got to, haven't you? You've got to do a physical examination.
Yeah.
You've got to test your hypothesis.
And, it proves us to be
Wouldn't
correct.
This woman be really fat? Because surely she would find eating food even more pleasurable than a standard human being. So surely she'd want to eat loads.
Well, they didn't really go into the to that side of it.
Didn't have the most fully rounded plot. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
A few holes in there in more ways than one.
Yeah, plot holes and everything else. But yeah, so then she goes on to work for the doctor, and he pretty much just pimps her out to anyone that's got any sort of physical or physiological or psychological issue. She solves by pretty much going around and having sex with them. Then she falls in love with one of them who likes rape fantasies. And then it ends.
Oh.
About an hour long. She falls in love, and there's some bizarre things
romantic
at the end where the guy who has the rape fantasies says, "Oh, will you marry me?" And she says, "Oh, I'd love to marry you, but I can't. I can only marry someone with a 9-inch penis." And then he looks really sad and calls the same
As you
doctor.
would.
Well, yeah, he's heartbroken because he doesn't fulfil the requirements.
Yeah.
So he rings the aforementioned doctor, who says, "Oh, don't worry, I can fix that." And so then he's really happy.
Yeah.
And then he just whacks his knob out then.
Okay. Sure.
And I couldn't tell if it was 9 inches or not. But it wasn't small. So maybe he somehow did it over the procedure to give him a big knob over the telephone. Or maybe he was just happy that at some point in the future he could get this 9-inch penis. And then she sucks him off. And then it pretty much ends. And she's really happy as well.
After.
Yeah. Because they either got the 9-inch penis or knew they would do soon, so that meant therefore they could get married.
Well, that's lovely, isn't it?
It's beautiful, beautiful
lovely.
end to a beautiful story, I'd say.
So it's actually more of a rom-com than anything else by the sounds of it. I'll have to check that out, see if Kaz is up for that.
It's probably not as funny as I've made it sound. It kind of dragged on. It was quite hard, it was quite hard work. But yeah, it's a classic, so check it out.
Worth checking out.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate the recommendation. Nice one.